With any new console they have released, Nintendo has always made efforts to put as many new games out with its key franchises. After all, this makes sense considering the characters and games Nintendo have in their arsenal are the reasons why many of us still buy Nintendo consoles to this day. After pushing out all of its key franchises, Nintendo were left with a small pool to draw from towards the end of the N64's lifespan. Many of us were left in frustration at the news that Nintendo were looking to put out Kirby instead of Metroid, but that's a whole different story. HAL Laboratory were left with developing this game, and thankfully this one was actually released. Just look at a list of their cancelled N64 titles and there are some big titles which felt the cold steel of Nintendo's axe. The game was published by Nintendo in Japan and North America in the year 2000, but we would have to wait over a year here in PAL regions to get this game on our store shelves. Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards has a very basic story. Dark matter shows up and tries to take the power of the crystal, which is a source of power for the fairies. Ribbon tries to defend the crystal, and in her efforts the crystal shatters into pieces and they spread throughout the galaxy. Kirby, being the straight up hero he is, offers to help collect the pieces, and as such begins a quest taking you across the galaxy to bring order to the world. One thing that I would like to point out is that oddly there is a similarity to Mario Galaxy here, in a sense that you travel to different planets and the level select screen looks familiar to anyone that's played Mario's Adventures on the Wii. There was a buzz phrase at the time and that was 2.5D. Essentially this was where games had 3D graphics but 2D gameplay, and there was quite a lot of disappointment at the time that Kirby was not going to be stepping into a true 3D world. We all remembered the fun but disappointing Yoshi's Story which came out earlier, but fear not. While the game is essentially a 2D platformer, the game has a lot more charm than Yoshi's N64 effort. Like the previous Kirby games, the core mechanic is about Kirby's copyability. As you inhale every enemy you come across, you have the choice to either spit out or digest its abilities. If an enemy has thrown bombs at you, then eat him, copy his ability, and you'll be able to throw bombs. It sounds simple, and in the earlier parts of the game it is. However, as you progress, you'll need to learn how to combine up to 2 powers to create abilities to really help you push through the game. There are hundreds of combinations, and they're a lot of fun to be had trying to learn to see which cool and unusual abilities you can come up with. The powers available in the game are Stone, Cutter, Spark, Bomb, Burn, Ice and Needle. A nice touch was that when combining abilities you're not always guaranteed to get a great ability. Some of the abilities in the game are not as strong as others, and again this really makes you take time to explore the combos and which abilities work in the situation you're in, and also which ones suit your playing style. The game also has a lot of replayability in it. You can simply dash through the levels to get to the end, but there are 2 different endings to the game, and the more crystal shards you collect will determine which ending you get. You're able to go back to levels at any time to explore further, and you'll realise areas you missed and learn which ability you need to break into that hidden area. To complete the game 100%, it will take time and patience. However, compared to collectathons in some of Rare's games, this is not as much of a chore. Personally, I love the boss battles but found them all a little too easy. If you have the right ability, some of them can be defeated in a matter of seconds and on your first attempt. If you do die however, it is usually just an opportunity to learn the attack patterns, and what you need to do, as soon as you grasp this you can defeat most of them without taking any damage. It's a shame they're all too easy however, they do look great and suit the world in which you are playing. Graphically the game will divide opinion. For me personally I love the graphical presentation. The colours are bright and colourful, and the planets you enter are varied and all have multiple segments during each level which things look totally different. The world actually feels alive, and if you're disappointed with this not being a true 3D Kirby game, then don't be. While the game doesn't push the N64 hardware to its limits, it does deliver a great looking game with small details that you can't help but love. The music in the game is a mixed bag. It's all very cutesy as you'd expect, and on first listen it doesn't seem all that memorable. Things start to change when you get later into the game and you'll start to enjoy it more, and the catchy tunes are all in the later levels towards the end of the game. The sound effects are suitable but nothing to write home about, but they are all very crisp and clear. Now there is a multiplayer mode in the game, but anyone hoping for a co-op mode will be disappointed, and in essence the multiplayer mode is just 3 very small mini games, which to be honest doesn't merit any coverage. Let's just say if you're getting Kirby 64 then do it for the single player mode. In closing, many people were disappointed with Kirby 64 at the time. It's a very easy game that does have its occasional challenge, but the most competent gamers should be able to breeze through it within a matter of hours. This doesn't make Kirby 64 a bad game, but it does disappoint in certain areas which stop it from becoming a must-own classic. If you enjoyed Yoshi's story, then you'll love Kirby 64. The graphics and gameplay are all great, and if you're looking for a game to play for an afternoon, I'd have no hesitation in recommending this one. But for those of you wanting a more hardcore experience, then finding all the Crystal Shards will take time, but I think very few will be hooked enough to want to go back and 100% complete the game. Due to this being a later N64 title, the prices of it are quite high, and it does have its cult following. My suggestion would be to pick this up, but only if you're a fan of Kirby and have the cash laying around to do so. So I've harped on about Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards for long enough, so let's hear what you think about the game. Let me know in the comments below, and for this episode I'd like to know what you think the best Kirby game on any platform is. Until next time, thanks for watching.